G'day guys, this week on BackChat, part one of a two-part series with our good friend, Adam Gilchrist. This part covers a fair bit of his career, growing up, greatest sporting achievement. Can he beat Dan's 5 for 16 and under 12 grand finals? We'll wait and see. We get through I think one of the great moments in cricketing history, Adam Gilchrist taking a wicket in a T20 game, his only ball ever, and then losing bodily functions and control of his own body. Yes, we'll get into all that and some more. It's a great chat, probably a bit different to what we usually do. We had so many moments with Gilly, we had to break it into two parts, and even in each part, we struggled to find some direction. But it was a great chat. Adam Gilchrist, everybody, you know what to do. Follow us on YouTube, follow us on socials, backchatstudios.com.au. Enjoy.
I was going to be the world's fastest bowler.
How'd the wicket keeping come about?
First time I tried to wicket keep, I broke my nose. Brian Lara used to pick the odd fight.
You hold, I think, an absolute glorious record of one ball, one wicket.
Opened the batting with Haydos in a one-dayer, and he'd give him a spray before he's even marked centre.
Is it a prerequisite for wicket keepers to be lippy?
You just feel like you're an under-10s player playing with adults and you're out of your depth. He just was the emperor overseeing everything.
He was just Shane Warne.
He was, and he's still looking down over us, just formulating discussion and
pulling the strings.
Absolutely, yeah, I reckon he is.
Well, not often here on BackChat that we get some intimidation amongst the production group, even potentially the hosts as well. One of the greats of all time in his chosen career path, Adam Gilchrist, joins us on the podcast. Hello, Gilly.
Gilly.
Hello, gents. How are you?
Very good. Thanks for coming in.
Now,
Jaiden. How are you, mate?
Jaiden is absolutely.
Jaiden's just died.
Jaiden, our producer, ladies and gentlemen, is very excited. Adam Gilchrist is sporting hero. Jaiden brought his cricket bag into work today.
Did see that sitting out the front there. That's
got a
old school too.
So if you're happy to just have a hit in the driveway a bit later, if you're all good.
Mate, last thing I need to do is hitting cricket balls. When it comes to hitting cricket balls, I'm a good football watcher at the moment.
Okay, well, very good. We're going to get right into that.
Also, there's some water there for you, mate. We've got to. That's all yours, mate.
Yes, if you'd like a sip. Now, Gilly, we ask the same question to every guest that comes on BackChat. Powered by Paywise in 2024, and thanks to TABtouch, your greatest sporting achievement. Now, we know you've captained the country. Okay, congratulations. Allen Baller medalist, cricket player of the year, multiple occasions. You've got a strike rate that probably does my possession rate over about 50 games absolute injustice. You can play cricket, I understand. You redefine the position on the cricket field as a wicket keeper. You're a cricketer. Well done. And we'll get into that in a little bit. We want to know your greatest
I'm a
sporting...
cricketer. I like that statement.
Yeah, we want to know your greatest sporting achievement thanks to TABtouch, not on the cricket pitch.
Greatest sporting achievement.
Yeah, we want to know what you've done.
What
sort of non-cricketing talents do you have?
It's a funny one, this one. We used to throw this around the change rooms, say in rain delays. There was one day this topic came up. So other than cricket, we all assumed that we were in the Australian cricket, and that was probably our best sport.
Correct.
What was your best other sport?
Great.
And Punter said golf, and I believe he chose the wrong sport.
Really?
And that's our greatest ever run scorer there too. I reckon he chose
so he
the
can
wrong
play
sport.
golf.
Yeah,
can play golf, probably.
Andrew Simons, rugby league, a whole variety of sports.
Warne maybe footy.
Through. Warne would have said footy. And got to Mark War and he goes, rugby league, soccer, golf, tennis. And typical junior, just reeled off every sport. And it's bloody true. The prick, he was Australian youth soccer player, Australian youth tennis player, Test legend. But my greatest sporting achievement away from cricket.
It's a great pad, by the way, by Gilly.
Yeah.
I would
just finding his line.
You were just looking for a quick, short, sharp answer there.
No, this is good. Love it.
I would say kicking 10. Yep.
Wow.
Full forward down in Deniliquin when I was in my primary school years.
Really?
Yeah, 10.
Yeah.
Are you sitting in the goal square? Or
Absolutely.
Yeah. Not leaving?
Not leaving it. I was inspired by a bloke by the name, now this is a blast from the past, and the real purists might know his name, Trevor Sutton. Right. He played for the Denny Rams, and he kicked 22
in a day.
Wearing a pair of, I think it was the Ovens Murray League. 22 in a day in a pair of white sand shoes. He might have scrapped around in for Footscray one year. But anyway, he was in and out of the system very quickly at the top level.
What you're telling me is that maybe the standard wasn't sort of up to scratch?
Well, I'm saying the defence wasn't that big down in that region. So, that's probably my biggest
That's good.
claim to
10
fame.
goals. That's very
Yeah,
good.
very good. Bag.
Yeah, junior footy. Yeah, just kick it to me, lay a few off, Gilly. No, mate. No, I'm going again.
What was life like for Gilly growing up? What sort of family did you grow up in? Was it a sporting family?
Yeah, very sporting. Youngest of 4. So sister, the eldest, and then 2 brothers, and then me. Son of 2 teachers as parents. But Dad and Mum were very sporting, and Dad loved his cricket. And played to a very high level. First grade in Sydney, was in the state squad, but never played a shield game. But that was long before kids came along. And then, so we were regional New South Wales. So Junee, Deniliquin, then Lismore, far north coast. So we bounced around on the back of Dad getting in the more administrative side of teaching. So and then became a school inspector and a district inspector and so on. So we skipped around a bit, but regionally we didn't want for anything. We grew up, you know, leave in the morning, come home at night when you're hungry. On weekends, and just play every bloody sport on offer. And was spoilt for choice, really.
And cricket, how early are you playing cricket? And do you know you're good when you're growing up? Are you a good cricket player growing up?
Yeah, I think it was pretty good. I think you start to get an understanding that you're in the mix. Probably the first big representative team was primary school state team got picked and was selected in that. So that's sort of under 12s in a state team from out the back of nowhere.
Right.
That's where I started thinking, this would be pretty cool. But I was a beneficiary of being around cricket as long as I can remember. My first memories of the game were like being told, Dad saying to his teammates when I was down watching him play, when he went out to bat, can you look after Adam, babysit him?
Yes.
Because my older brothers have taken off somewhere else. And the babysitting bills weren't that big because he wasn't out there that long. He was a wily old leg spinner, but pretty average with the stick in hand. But sifting through the cricket bag in the change rooms and, listening to the old blokes, that's my memories of cricket. And then it was forever there ever after that, just typical stuff, backyard, and then junior rep teams, school teams, and, it was ingrained in my blood.
How did the wicket keeping come about? That's not usually the first preference of a kid, playing at that age.
No, I was going to be the world's fastest bowler. Dennis Lilly was my absolute idol, like so many youngsters around that period of time, like sort of late 70s, early 80s, and then we went to the Big Smoke of Shepparton, so sort of northern Victoria. Went down there. That was the Big Smoke from Denny. Christmas shopping, and in the Super Kmart there, I saw a pair of wicket-keeping gloves, and I just went, Jesus, they look pretty flash. They were green and white. Still got them, actually.
Really?
But and that was I went, I want to be a wicket-keeper, and Santa Claus came through with the goods. And then that's when I looked at the other end of the pitch from Dennis Lilly and went, there's a little short, stocky bloke with a moustache called Rod Marsh, who I reckon's got a pretty good approach to life and everything he did, and was a brilliant wicket-keeper. And I loved watching him diving around. So that was me done from that moment on, really.
So it's a pretty interesting position. Like wicket keeper, there's one of you right in each team.
Yeah.
It's not like got 6 or 7 batsmen depending on the lineup and a few bowlers. But the wicket keeper, there's one of you. You don't play 2 wicket keepers.
Well, these days in T20 cricket, it seems they've got about 4 or 5 blokes that could throw the gloves on at any point in time. But that's what white ball cricket's done, and now T20 cricket's done. It's made more versatility amongst the players, created more versatility in amongst the player group. But yeah, way back then, it was literally tough to get in, but once you got there, you're the only one. So if you're doing a half decent job, you shouldn't lose your spot. So, but yeah, I just loved it. Just you're in the action. Now to say, Rod Marsh was very quickly my hero. I remember waving to him at the Sydney Cricket Ground once when I was, a little fella yelling out, waving, and he waved back. Well, I thought he did. I didn't realise the players' partners were sitting right behind him, and I think he was waving to Ros, his wife. But I broke the first time I tried to wicket keep, I broke my nose. Maybe that was a sign that I shouldn't have progressed that way. But the old throw came in and I hit the edge of the cement pitch, and it ricocheted and clubbed me in the nose. And
Beautiful cement pitch.
Oh yeah, sitting about 2 inches higher than the grass. And so that night in hospital, getting it set, and the nurse told me that Rod Marsh suffered the same fate when he first wicket kept. So I thought, oh shit, here we go. That's like my life's course is set.
Yeah.
And first time I met Rod was at the Cricket Academy. He was our head coach, which was heaven sent. And I mentioned that story to him. He just said, "No, mate, never broken my nose in my life." I went, "Oh shit!"
So the nurses just set you on a life of greatness.
No, good on her. She stopped me from crying to, loving life in hospital for a night. So
That's brilliant.
Yeah, it was a nice little sort of full circle, but it didn't deter me once I heard he hadn't broken his nose.
So Country Boy, BackChat powered by Paywise, so I did novated leasing and a few other things. Ask what your first car was. Can you remember your first car?
Family car or my car?
Your car.
My first car was a Ford Telstar.
Oh, Telstar.
Telstar, I don't know if it's still in
It was
existence.
almost like the Tesla before ahead of its time.
It sounds like you mumble it enough, everyone goes, "Wow, you had a Tesla." Ford Telstar, blue, like a metallic blue. I borrowed $3,000 off my granddad to buy it.
Wow.
And he made me pay him back.
Good.
Literally had to go there, pay him $100 a week, and he'd stamp across the butt, like they do in the bank, halfway across the little butt and the bit you rip off to make sure it matches up, and it was a genuine receipt. But had an eagle sticker on either side, so we named it Eddie the Eagle after the skier of that time.
Why did it have eagle stickers?
I don't know. Someone,
did you put them on there?
No, they were on there. They were part of the package, mate. So,
Free stickers.
It was a pretty horrible old car, but did the job. It was just when I moved to Sydney from Lismore. Yeah.
We speak about sport and have some great laughs, but just like that little story about your granddad, making you pay it back and teaching you about that sounds like as a young man that would have influenced you and talking about money, but responsibility and that sort of stuff.
Without doubt, all that, and it's nice to recall stories like that, and all of a sudden I feel a wave of guilt come over me about my parenting because I'm not sure I'm tough enough and given my kids the hard knocks and hard issues of life to toughen them up and prepare them. You try your best, but you think back to some of the scenarios you were in and how valuable, how harsh it was at the time, but now on reflection, how valuable it was. But he absolutely made me pay back every single cent of that.
Good.
But
Good.
But that was, and the way I was paying it back, I'd left school, went to the Cricket Academy for a year, like I said, under Rod's tutelage, and then back to Sydney and sort of just in the state squad for New South Wales, but not getting any guaranteed income at all. So I deferred uni just to give cricket the full crack and was doing the old night fill at Coles, packing shells, 10 till 2 a.m. to allow you the time in the day. So all those, it's a challenging period, but as you say, all those little lessons that you get set you on your course and help you throughout various times.
Your some of your parenting's even been highlighted on TV when your son was caught drinking on screen.
As a 17-year-old.
As a 17-year-old.
Sitting around the pool out there at Perth Stadium in the first game out there. And, it's unreal, isn't it? The director cuts to the pool. Oh, yeah, gee, that looks nice there. And I'm on the sneaky mic going, get off that bloke there. Get off him. I think I might have said, that looks like my son, as he took a sip of a beer.
Yeah.
And that's when I'm going, get off him. And Junior and Warne were all over it.
Well, I was going to say, we can have a laugh now, but I can imagine as a dad, Dan and I both fathers, you'd just be like, this is going to be bad in your head.
You don't want to mix your family in that live TV scenario. But, taught him really well, actually. He recently went back to where I grew up, Lismore, and just out of Lismore, they named a cricket field after me. It's called, it's titled Adam Gilchrist Park. And Harry hadn't seen it. He's 22 now, but he went back and he sent me a photo of him standing under the sign that says Adam, and going, proud moment, Dad. And then he sent another photo of him turning around pissing on the sign. So how is my parenting going? Proud moment, Dad. Thanks. Yeah.
You could look at it as how your parents going. You could also look at it, he's got a bit of a sense of humour.
He's got a bit of character, a bit of zhuzh about him. I'll take it that way. I'll look at it that way for sure.
So that's your junior cricket career. And I've got to be honest, Gilly, we probably could do a 7-hour podcast how we usually do them. We go through sort of years and moments, but we're going to try and pick our way through some highlights and some bigger stuff around your career because otherwise we'll be here forever.
You're going to need shelters, not waters.
Yeah, now we're talking. Look at Gilly. One of the most, I would say, branded and ambassadorship
Oh yeah,
probably sports people in the history of the world. So he
no
asked
branding on me. No, I've got my own branding, but come in clean.
Yeah, correct. Good. No, but you just look after sponsors.
Trained. You're just trained.
Just
you know
right before we start,
yeah.
the major sponsors, Shelter. There we go. Slipped it in already. Now, once you get through those junior days and then the state cricket stuff, what's it when you're coming towards Australian selection? You know, that real moment there. What's that time of your life like, and representing your country, or at least an opportunity to?
Oh, exciting. Unknown, a real uncertainty about it. Because going back to your question earlier, where were you any good as a junior, and I think I'm pretty arrogant and said, oh yeah, I think so. But no, you're sort of going through all the stepping stones. It was just so exciting. Like, you remember through footy, you're in your club team, and then there's a tryout for a district team, and you'd go down there and try out and get picked, and it was just about that incentive of playing. First and foremost, just enjoying it and loving it, but then looking ahead and going, geez, imagine getting picked in that team, and then forecast a bit further forward. Oh, right, okay, there's a regional team after that, and then eventually, as I say, under 12s, New South Wales Primary School got into a state team. So all of a sudden you think you're pretty cool. You got a tracksuit and a cap that has the state emblem on it. And then you go through all the junior ranks. I managed to go through with reasonable ease under 17 Australian squad. And then I hit a real hurdle the next year. I didn't even get into the state team. Right. Of the next age group the next year. It was just like, oh, well, if you're Australian under 17, you're in the state 19s the next year for sure, but didn't even get a look in, and that I thought that's the end of my road. I thought I've sort of fired my best shot. And
well, that's why this wicketkeeper position, like if there's one person better than you in the country, you're not getting a gig.
Yeah, that's right.
Who was it? Who was the under 19 state player?
I can't remember his name. I don't think he went on with it. No, his surname was Pratt. Anthony Pratt, I think it was.
Shout out, Pratty.
But that was a real setback, but in the end made me a little bit hungry, and managed to get there in the end in the 19s, and then you're in the state squad system, and then you play a state game. And I had a roadblock in New South Wales. I had to look elsewhere, which is literally why I sit here today in Perth chatting to you blokes. 30 years this year since I moved over here from New South Wales, because my pathway was blocked by a wicketkeeper batsman that was also the captain of New South Wales at the time, doing a great job, Phil Emery. Yeah. A lot of people might go, who's he? But Ian Healy played 117 test matches. He missed one game in the middle of his career through injury. Phil Emery was the guy that replaced Ian Healy for one game. So that's where he was at. He was just below Heels. He might have played 100 tests in any other era, but Heels blocked him. And then I was below Emery, so I had to look elsewhere just to get a state game, and came over here. So, and my cricket, the opportunity here ended up providing that chance to go and play for Australia, so that period of time was just bloody exciting, but a lot of uncertainty.
Kid that from country New South Wales, first time you represent the country. When is it? What does it feel like?
Well, it wasn't my dream debut, not the one that I remember sitting in bed and lying and think about at night. I debuted against South Africa in Faridabad, central India. So it's not, I looked at the look on your faces and go, what? Where the hell is that? And we got pumped. But it was, Ian Healy was, he got injured, and I got flown over there to just fill in for a couple of one-dayers. But what it was, and now that you've got me thinking about it, for a lot of that period, once you've played Shield cricket, firmed your position up there, start to get added to maybe play an Australia A game, or Australia under 23s, and you're sort of in the mix, but again, no certainty. But every time the phone rings or rang back then, you'd go, is this the call? Is this the call? And you'd answer it, and she misses, bugger. Literally, it was like, I wonder if that phone call will ever come. And then one day it came, and I was quickly, like that afternoon, by midnight that night, I was on a flight to India to fill in for Heels.
Who actually calls you? The head of selectors?
It was the chairman of Cricket Australia at the time, or CEO of Cricket Australia at the time, a bloke called Graham Halbish.
Pack your bags. Get on the
Well,
flight
Mel
to India.
answered, my wife answered and just said, no, he's in the shower, he can't take your call. So that was like, come out. No, I'll take that. But it was a rush job, like down, get a couple of jabs because I was going to India.
Yes.
And then had to fly to Melbourne, get kitted out, all this stuff, and then off your chuff, which made a lot of sense. Fly from Perth to Melbourne to go to India, which is back the other way. But you didn't care. Got there and room with Steve Waugh, who I didn't even know at the time. Messiest roommate alive.
Is that right?
Didn't talk to me a great deal. Not sure he even thought I should have been there, but anyway, we worked our differences out and landed at midnight, and by 6:30 the next morning I was on the team bus heading out to Faridabad, which is about an hour drive out of Delhi. And it was interesting, but a big thrill.
How did you, as like a bowler, you can keep putting up good figures, and batters you can hit lots of runs, but as a wicketkeeper, how do you sort of prove your value over other wicketkeepers? Like, because from the outside, all the wicket keepers do essentially the same thing. Like you take in the balls and stuff, but what can you do better as a wicket keeper to outperform the others?
Hopefully not drop them.
Right.
But
is that what it is? Consistency.
But I think, look, age-old saying in cricket is you have your best day when you're not noticed.
Yeah.
You might have an extra special day when you do something really good, like take a specky or great stumping or something. But if you've had a good consistent day if you're not noticed, because the other flip side can be pretty horrible if it's gone wrong and you get noticed for all those reasons. But I literally the drummer in the band. You're just there to keep the beat for the team. So energy, getting up to the stumps, keeping the field and fielders energised. That's where it's amazing, even at international cricket, you look out there now and there's such significant standout points of difference between wicketkeepers on how they do that simple stuff and the body language and, supporting and encouraging your teammates and getting down to the bowlers, getting the hat, running it, like just keeping the system flowing, particularly on stinking hot days and when a wicket hasn't fallen for a couple of hours, is unbelievable. Even in Test cricket or one-day cricket, T20, you look out there and some keepers' body language is horrible,
right?
And you think, Jesus, you've got to be on your game non-stop, because I think if you do make a little mistake here and there, but you've got all that other stuff really covered and you're impacting on your team, people will be a bit more forgiving. But if you mope around with poor body language in general and then you put something down, it becomes really noticeable, I reckon.
Is it a prerequisite for wicket keepers to be lippy, to be on the
No, I wasn't lippy. I didn't shy away from a stoush if it flared up, but I didn't go looking for it.
Right.
Because I knew if I sledged, and I wasn't squeaky clean. In fact, I was the most, under the ICC charges for getting reported, at one point in time, Shoaib Akhtar and myself had the most ever reports in Test cricket.
What were you doing?
I don't know. I was just saying the wrong thing at the wrong time. I don't reckon I was saying much, but swearing probably was the main one.
So you get clipped for swearing on the stump cam?
Or when the umpire could hear it, telling umpires jokes.
We're happy with the
like
decision.
But as far as sledging, if I was in a verbal stoush keeping, as soon as the words left my mouth, I thought, oh no, why did I say that? Because I knew as soon as I was coming out to bat, you've just drawn a little bit extra attention from the opposition on what I was comfortable with. But go out there with Haydos, open the batting with Haydos in a one-dayer, and he'd give him a spray before he's even marked centre.
Like what? Watch these ones go, boys.
Yeah.
What sort of stuff did he say?
Shoaib Akhtar bowling 155, close to 160. And I take first ball and he'd steam in and, probably mid 140s as a warm-up ball. Still pretty quick. And you have, right, a contest on here. And as he walks back past, Haydos is into him. Like, seriously, Shoaib, are you not turning up today? Is that all you have got? And Shoaib's steam coming out of the ears. So Haydos loved it. Brian Lara used to pick the odd fight.
Did he?
There's a famous team meeting where Steve Waugh said, we don't sledge Lara because we know triggers him.
I was about
Right.
to ask,
Don't say a
is
word.
the guys that you don't want to talk
Yeah.
to. So he was one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And then
And
we
then-
got
and-
out there in test match and he did something and Tugger came in, called him up, whatever. And like, peeled off 200 in good time. It was the most ridiculous thing ever. Like, because Tugger went, so McGrath went, so everyone went in like attack dogs, and Brian just loved it. It
Yeah.
literally just triggered him, and away he went.
Really?
So yeah, there's a few guys. We tried Sachin a number of times. He just never bit back. He just like Zen like master in
Too
a
good.
trance like state. So
So you've played against some great cricketers along your career.
Yeah,
Like,
it
you're
was-
just reeling off a few names there, with some and against some.
yeah. Our group must have 7 or 8 or 6 or 7 Hall of Fame cricketers, and that's ICC Hall of Fame, let alone
Yes.
Australian. So we were very fortunate to be in a hell of an era, led mainly through the results, probably dictated to mainly by the fact we had McGrath and Warne.
Yes.
Because to win Test matches, you've got to get the 20 wickets, and if you know those two are getting half of them more often than not, it's pretty handy.
So we've asked, excuse me, we've had, who have we had on? JL, David Boone, Mitch Marsh, Mitch Johnson.
Didn't notice you had JL on. It went through pretty quietly, didn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
He had
No, that's right. It was last.
He
No
didn't really have
pushback
much to
from him
say.
after that, was
No,
there?
no,
No.
and there wasn't really much to say, was there? I mean, we weren't talking about anything controversial whatsoever. So I'm hoping this podcast will do the same
Yeah,
thing.
you could just give us something. That would, no.
But I do
Please don't.
ask, I try to draw the comparison between footy and cricket a little bit.
Yeah.
And so backs win premierships, right?
Yep.
Forwards sell memberships.
Yep.
Mid sign sponsorships,
Yeah,
money,
yeah,
right? Backs win premierships.
Yeah, I like
So
that.
so
Hate
so
to say that.
what is it with cricketers? I've heard the bowlers may be the spine. You can't win without the bowlers,
Well,
and you weren't one. So it's
The
wondering,
batters-
and where does the wicketkeeper sit?
well, that's where I was going to get to, exactly that.
Right.
So the batters, the top 3 think they're the engine room. They call themselves the engine room.
Right,
So
they're
Hayden,
midfielders.
Langer, Ponting, feel like they call them. But, so they were already just alienating themselves from the rest of the batting group, right? So your Damien Martins, your Tuggers, Junior, like they're all going, well, hang on. Why are we we're batters. We're the
Almost like-
batting. We're the top 6.
It's like role players.
Oh, mate, yeah, it was just... So there's infighting immediately there. The moment 3 of them classify themselves as something
Yes,
and having included the others.
it sounds like forward line behaviour.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah.
Bit of look at me.
I've got to be careful there because I did stand in the forward
Kick 10
line
in
and
the goal
not really
square.
leave it. But then you go to the bowlers and you had the fast bowling cartel. I've never seen a tighter group of blokes that are just tradesmen-like, hard-working, just no frills. And I know I can see you already there going, the backs. That's
Yeah.
the backs. Just don't worry about the glory. Just do the job, the hard grunt work.
Yes.
And they don't get the headlines or the contracts, but that's it. So whenever there was a gathering of batters or the fast bowling cartel, I was only ever invited to the fast bowling cartel catch-ups. So
Right.
I'm
Wow.
with them.
So I'll tell you who you are. You're the winger.
Yeah.
It can go both ways, right? You can go and kick
Yeah,
a goal,
yeah.
but you're the defensive winger that we
Yep.
just bring you back into the hole and just say, Gilly, just come sit here in front of Plug a Locket and get smashed.
Plug a Locket.
We love you.
Yeah,
We don't love you
yeah.
that much, but we love you.
Yeah, we like a bit of every now and then. But,
Yeah.
Is that fast bowling cartel real? So Mitch Marsh spoke about that on the
Oh,
podcast
yeah.
with us. And
It's
you
alive
got to
and
click
well.
over 140 Ks, otherwise you're out.
There's WhatsApp group still, but Mike Hussey and I think mainly because Huss is a cracking fella, but he batted at 6 for a while early on. So you end up at 6 and 7, you end up inevitably batting with the tail.
Yep.
And that's the best time to bat because you've got nothing to lose, everything to gain, no expectation because you just start slogging wildly because you know they're getting out.
Yes.
And you end up forging some really good partnerships. But Huss and I are honorary members of the FBC, and other than that, they want nothing to do with the batters. But it does leave one other person, one other player type in there that hasn't been mentioned there,
It's all right.
but he always just sat in his own upper echelon. That was the great Shane Keith Warne.
Yeah.
And
He wasn't the
he's,
fast bowling cartel, he wasn't the batters, but he just was emperor overseeing everything.
he was just Shane Warne.
He was, and he's still looking down over us, just formulating discussion and
Pulling
continuing.
strings.
Absolutely, yeah. I reckon he is.
That's bloody brilliant.
What was
I hadn't thought about that.
What was your relationship like with bowlers? Like, was it different per each bowler? You know, on the field, because obviously it has to have pretty good chemistry between wicketkeeper and a bowler.
Yeah, I'd never really thought about that. From other than the obvious of, you know, the highlight of my cricketing career was to wicketkeeper Shane Warne and Glenn McGrath. So two complete contrasting bowlers, obviously quick and a spinner and so on. But you know, Warne was just mesmerising. It was quite surreal that to sit here now and talk about it, just doing it for so long and in such close contact and such a you know, one-on-one partnership. You know, clearly keeper-bowler partnership's vitally important, and that was just like a bloke holding centre stage in the theatre. You know, just all eyes on him, the spotlight on him, everything else blacked out. That's what it felt like when he was at the top of his mark coming in, and you're just there almost as an observer. So all the theatre of it and drama of it and the fun of it, and he was just so consistently good. So that you do that for an over, and then at the end of that over you go up and stand next to him because he's at first slip, and where he sort of switches off a bit and gets involved with a bit of banter or talks about what's going on in the over or talking about how he's setting the guy up or anything that might have happened elsewhere off the field, but that made it hard to concentrate. But then you got Glenn McGrath coming in.
Yeah, steaming.
Like one of the greats of all time. So you got that matching up of the two of them, which was just extraordinary. And I guess in other eras, guys like Brett Lee and Jason Gillespie in particular, I think he's grossly under-acknowledged and underrated in what he did for the Australian cricket team through that period. They in other times, they become the real spearheads and lead attacks. But as far as keeping to the quicks, McGrath was so good because he was so consistent. Dizzy was just as sort of consistent. Binger sprayed him around a bit through the obviously efforts of trying to get it down a bit quicker. Then you had a few backup guys like, and these are the heartbeat of the FBC, Andy Bickle, Michael Kasovich, you know, these sort of bench players that just, an injury turns up, bang, they're in, and they just do a job. And next minute, like Bick was, I think, 12th man for Australia 17 times. Wow. But you couldn't not take him on tour. You just had to have him. And then whenever he got a chance to play, he'd jump in and...
Was Binger Lee playing in the band that he's reignited?
Yeah,
recently?
that started, I reckon, 2000.
Gav Robinson?
Yep, yeah. Richard Cheequy is the lead singer. He played for New South Wales.
How's that?
My age.
Is that what it is?
Six and out.
Sorry. Yeah. It's close enough.
Yeah.
So was he in a band when you blokes were playing together still?
Yeah. We played a one-day international at Sydney. I reckon it might have been about 1990. Might have been 2000. We played Pakistan, won the game, all went in the change room, couple of beers, showered, got changed, walked up the hill, up the Paddington exit of the Sydney Cricket Ground to one of the pubs up there on Oxford Street, walked in and the boys played a gig that night. And it's not like it was off the cuff, oh, let's go for a beer. No, it was organised. So they're playing cricket, but no, we've got a gig organised too, so let's try to get this snappy game done. We've got so, yeah, Shane Lee was playing the game as well, and so Shane and Brett were playing, and then Richard Cheequy, Gavin Robertson, who had played for Australia, and a bloke called Brad McNamara, who was a very decent New South Wales cricketer.
That's brilliant.
Wow.
It's unreal. So they've resurrected it now. Yeah, they're having a ball.
Were you keeping when Gillespie was running in, giving the bird wings?
Yeah.
What was the deal? Why was he doing that?
just entertaining us, I think. Yeah, just looking for something different. It was like he made the statement: if ever he got 50 in Test cricket, he'll do the ride the bat like the pony, like the little fella out of Happy Gilmore. Riding around him. So he did that. Him and McGrath both got 50s up at the Gabba, and it wasn't fit for Test cricket. What was going on out there, but they stayed true to their word.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was going to look for a bit of a segue. I think it's just presented it ourselves. We do a fair bit of research, and like I said, it was a bit overwhelming. Your cricketing career spanned over multiple decades, multiple countries, international game cricket. So there was a lot, but there certainly was something that stood out to me that we found that I don't know how much in full detail this has been presented to the world. So you talk about behaviour on the cricket pitch and celebrations. you hold, I think, a absolute glorious record of the great IPL record of 1 ball, 1 wicket.
Yep.
Which I'm assuming you're very proud of.
Very.
It's a bit like a backman, 1 kick, 1 goal, and then retiring effectively. So can you talk us through that moment a little bit, please? And then I'll give you some further context.
Right.
If that's okay. Well, what's this like?
So
This is
you've been on
IPL.
YouTube, haven't you?
This is IPL at its finest moment, probably early-ish days.
It would have been the 6th edition of the IPL
Right.
because I played the first 6,
Right.
and that was my last.
Right.
It was my last delivery in competitive cricket.
Was it?
Yep.
So-
So we were playing the Mumbai Indians.
Yeah.
And Harbhajan Singh was on strike. Harbhajan had been a bit of a thorn in the side of the Australian team through our tussles through that era.
As a bowler.
As a bowler,
Not much
mate.
better.
No, I could whack him.
Okay.
He was all right, but very, very good bowler and loved a verbal stoush. And we all engaged all the time too often. he was a really good opponent to play. You knew he was lifting his game and producing and what was riding on it for India. This is a young bloke whose father passed away as a youngster, and he almost had to raise his sisters in the north of India, just cut from hard stone sort of attitude, and could bowl. So he'd got punter out in that infamous January 2008 Test match in Sydney, when there was the racism stuff that Roy had said he'd been called a monkey and Harbhajan, and they all denied it and so on. But that's not something that even needs to be revisited. But in that test, Harbhajan knocked over Ricky and ran in front of the SCG members and just started doing cartwheels, not just rolling, roll across the outfield. So talk about what's not fit for Test cricket. But
In front of them.
just in front of the members, that beautiful old pavilion, just rolling, doing forward rolls, and he couldn't contain himself in a spiteful match. He'd knocked over our skipper, and so we never really forgot that. So then I got him out. They needed 48 to win. I did my maths. I realised that 1 over to go. They shouldn't really be getting these.
Mate, it was 51. We watched it.
Was it?
They needed-
51.
so
I
they've-
thought it was 48.
So they've put the official graphic up. Run rate required off the last over, 51.
51.
They've got a 51 run
Well,
rate.
there you go. I was feeling reasonably comfortable that now's the time to take it for a spin.
Right.
So I whipped the pads off, and
Are you skipper? Are you making
Yeah, I was
this
gonna say,
call?
yeah, I was.
You
captain.
called yourself in.
Oh yeah. It's I refused bowling in Test cricket, 1-day cricket. There'd been dead games where punter had gone, want to bowl, and go, no, I'm not going to make a mockery of it. No, let's play the game out. But I thought, no, here's my chance. And I knew I was finishing right up by then. I'd been 6 years retired from the Australian set up by then, but the IPL was lucrative enough to keep turning up for. But and then when I saw Harbhajan, I thought, this is meant to be. So I rolled out a pretty gentle offie, and rightly so, he tried to hit me. We're playing in Dharamshala, which is right up at the foothills of the Himalayan mountains, but you're still at altitude anyway.
Right.
And he's tried to hit me back to Mumbai and just thinned it straight to deep mid-on, who's caught it. So first thing I'm thinking, right, forward rolls. So I run around out the point, and I'm rolling around. And then while I'm tumbling, I'm thinking, now what other celebrations are these blokes doing these days? And it was a time when Chris Gale had started doing the Gangnam style.
Yes.
The song was pop and they're getting wickets doing this Gangnam style. I thought, Gangnam style. I just realised, Gilly, halfway through doing it, you're not West Indian. You can't dance. Stop. But adrenaline got the better of me, and it's probably, you asked me what my proudest or best achievement was, non-cricket. Well, that's probably the most embarrassing thing I've ever done.
Mate, I didn't know if you'd remember that you were doing the forward roll. So we've got a bit of the vision. It looks like it's been taken on a Nokia 33-7 when you go about
Someone
this.
sent me this. This punter has filmed this on his
is from
camera.
the crowd, right? So you've just spun it in there.
Yeah, Harbhajan tried to whack it.
And just watch your celebration. I'm glad you acknowledged it because what?
There we go. Bit of gangnam there. And then the big leap, I reckon. I get a big leap out here.
Sean Marsh.
There we go.
Sean Marsh is in there with you.
Yep. Yeah, Sauce is part of that team.
I wanted to look. You've look at
God. It's not good. It's not a graceful effort, is it?
I just wanted to put it to you, like, is it fair to say you lost control of your bodily functions out there?
Absolutely, yeah. I was just overcome with emotion. I was like revenge for punter. Harbhajan got me out. I was part of his. He was the first Indian to get a hat trick in Test cricket, and I was the middle wicket.
Wow.
Off a pig of a decision. It was not out, so I had to get a bit of retribution for that.
So much going on.
Oh, a lot going on, and then Chris Gale entered my mind. I wish that didn't turn up.
It's like your mind morphs into your body and you just lose the plot.
Yeah, no, I don't ever want to go back there.
Oh, jeez, it was good. I'm sorry.
Thanks for that trip down there. My kids, that they often bring it up and just look at me and go, "Dad, what were you thinking?" But, yeah,
oh, mate, I just watched it. I just thought that is just one of the greats of all time.
There's so many layers to it. That's great.
Good stat though. Good.
Well, because on the official coverage, they don't show the forward rolls. So
No,
I
I
thought I was
know.
going to spring it on you a bit, but
Yeah.
no one knows about the forward rolls. And we watched it before. I said, "What on earth is he doing?"
Well, you're a bit stiff there because Howie on Fox Cricket will get that rolled in. Like the official coverage part, which is just the Gangnam style.
Yes, it misses the
Embarrassing
rolls.
enough, but I just gathered nobody had ever got on tape the forward rolls, which I thought was the best part of it. But it was only 4 days ago that old buddy sent me
Really?
that clip. So I don't know if it's just started to circulate. So you're a bit stiff because if I hadn't seen that one 4 days ago, I would have said to you, "Oh, you should have seen it. I did this for."
No one
We
knows.
have seen it.
It's brilliant.
Oh, that's very good, mate. That's a great story. Like I said, I'm going to jump around a little bit. Couple of big moments. A good mate JL here at BackChat. 1999. Don't you laugh? Bellreeve Oval. Why not? I don't think it's the biggest, but one of the biggest chases in Test cricket. 369. You chase down.
Yeah.
Come to the crease in all sorts. What do you? And this has been covered a bit, but what do you blokes talk about when you get out there? When you first walk to the crease, we both know you know JL a bit better than I do, but I know him pretty well. What do you say?
His first words were, "You never know."
Hmm.
So we were 5 for 120, I think, when we came together chasing that big total, and I was shitting bricks because I got knocked over by a doojra from Suckleen Mushtaq in the first, and I didn't know what. I'd never heard the term doojra. Certainly hadn't seen a doojra, which is for those uneducated out there in cricket terms. It's an
like
off spinner bowling something that's not meant to spin the way it ends up spinning.
It's like the other one.
Yeah,
it's pulling the
it
other
is,
one.
Yeah. So anyway, I couldn't pick him, and I felt quite embarrassed just because it's like facing Murali from Sri Lanka because he bowls these massive doojras that go one way and then he's off, he goes the other, and you just feel like you're an under-10s player playing with adults and you're out of your depth.
Really?
So you can face Shoaib Akhtar at 160, 155 and have an element of, oh, well, that's quick and the heart rate's going, but you're not, you can trust your skill a little bit.
You know it's going to be quick.
Yeah, and you're prepared for it and you've trained for it, but when you're just guessing what the bowler bowls, like, hang on, this ain't fair. So I was not chock full of confidence going out there at 5 for 120 odd, but JL literally said, "You never know, mate. You never know." Oh, shit. Okay, that sounds like it's a real leap of faith there. Well, we just basically, and it sounds boring, and it's all that sort of coaching and stuff over the years, broke it down into small increments. We literally, well, first of all, we just had to stop the flow of wickets, so block it up for a while, but then just 10-minute allotments and 10-run allotments. So he had his eye on the clock, I had my eye on the scoreboard, and at the end of each over, we'd say, all right, 3 more minutes. Okay, yes, 7 more runs or whatever. And we got ourselves to stumps. I think we're just over halfway of the chase. And then that night we had some dinner, and I reckon I watched Jerry Maguire that night. And
Show me
when
money.
Rod Tidwell went into
Cruise.
that touchdown and then got up and did his dance, I said to myself, I'm going to do that tomorrow if we knock these runs off.
You did.
I had the good sense not to.
I was going to say, don't tell me I'm going to roll the tape.
You've seen me dance. But Yeah, I remember watching that movie, just daring to dream a little bit, thinking, oh, how cool would that be if we knock this off? And yeah, we got back the next day and just 10-minute allotments, 10-run allotments. JL smashed one, got given not out, but I had no idea he hit it at the time. It was a bit of a noise, and I came down to him. I said, "Oh, did you hit that?" He goes, "No, mate, nah." So he blatantly lied to me, which was good because
Was he lying to himself?
yeah, for 7 years, he's probably said it's like tax. After 7 years, they can't get you for it. So that's when he started saying, "Yeah, nah, smashed it." So, yeah, but the squeaky handle theory. But it's good day. Good day.
Bloody hell.
What's it like batting after stumps for the day and then coming back in the morning to it again? It just feels like such a break of momentum that you almost have to start again.
Yep. I think, well, geez, you'd rather be there than not, I guess. But I had a nerve. The boys take the piss out of me because I didn't particularly like being around close to any landmark overnight because it gives you time to think. So I hit the last ball of the day's play for 6 against Pakistan, I think, to bring up 100. Second last ball, but came in and the boys go, "What?" I said, "Well, I didn't want to be sleeping on that." but it's tough to get a fresh start. I talk about facing Murley. I'm a bit self-indulgent here. I'm talking about me getting hundreds, but
Well, it is your podcast about you, so that's right.
Yeah. Well, I finally had a game where I got Murley rather than him getting me, and we're in Kandy in Sri Lanka, and I was 144 not out overnight, and I thought, I've finally broken him down. I've worked him out. I'm picking him. I still to this day, if I started fresh now, but I batted long enough to get familiar with things. So I was just, like the first time I actually picked his Doosra, this big, I realised it was a bit loopier, and I picked it and just couldn't contain it. I absolutely belted it right out. I just fucking creamed it, like this sense of relief. So I'm going to bed, 144 night, thinking, well, 200's a mere, that'll be before lunch. And then very first ball I faced him next day, just knocked me over.
Wow.
Yeah, plum LBW, didn't pick it. So, yeah, it's a fresh start. That's the old saying that, you got to start again and go back to the beginning. But as I say, it's a nice feeling walking off not out, knowing you've got some sort of impact to make the next day.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of part 1. Don't worry, still more to come. Adam Gilchrist, part 2, dropping next Wednesday. Sorry you've got to wait. It'll be worth it. BackChatStudios.com.au. Follow us on YouTube and on socials.